Okay, I want to talk about this video from a couple of days ago, an interview on Fox News. I didn't know anything about it until I saw a couple of folks on Facebook who were like, oh, well, if Portland isn't full of like violent, masked Antifa domestic terrorists, then why did I just see one interviewed on Fox News? So a couple of days ago, Jesse Waters had this interview that they claimed was with a former Antifa member from Seattle who was like giving the Fox News crowd the down low about what it's really like to be part of this organization called Antifa, even though there is no such organization. Antifa just means anti-fascist. That's like saying, oh, they're a member of anti-pollution, or the like, I don't like tomato soup club or something, right? Like it's not an organization, right? So he had this interview and the Fox News set who can't tell the difference between bad AI on Facebook and something that is, like real art. People who see those posts that claim that they've bred a blue strawberry and then go and believe it. Yeah, that crowd absolutely took this interview with Jesse fucking Waters at face value and are like, this is proof. This is the inside scoop on Antifa. And very quickly, a number of folks noticed that this guy they were interviewing, he seemed weirdly familiar. He seemed an awful lot like somebody that was interviewed a couple of years ago, also completely having his identity obscured, who claimed to be someone who spent more than 3 decades in prison and was part of a Mexican cartel, but then had like a weird, bad attempt at a little bit of a Spanish accent, but mostly sounded like he was from Minnesota. Not unlike how the guy that they interviewed claiming to be a Seattleite from Antifa also had like weird kind of like Minnesota-esque qualities to his speech. Anyway, so somebody on Threads together a little comparison. So I want to share it here. Yes, I'm at the park. As soon as this leaf blower goes by, I will put it up.
Mostly recruiting, working with youth, getting, and just going out, spitting out the message. And the thing is to, a lot of people get into it because they want to.
On the outside, 36 years I've been behind bars. Considered extremely violent enough to be recruited by the Mexican Mafia prison gang.
There's an error, especially when you're younger, that, you're out here and you're doing something, and that's very appealing.
No, sir. I can tell you for a fact, contrary to that, I kind of laughed when I saw 2 things. I saw that he had allegedly stated that one of his motives or reasons was to support Black Lives Matter and also to commemorate the Black Hand.
Oh, absolutely. Because you're young and you're idealistic and you feel like you don't have a lot of control in your life, and so if you can go out there and make yourself a hassle, then that's better than being an anonymous kid,
which is the official tattoo of the Mexican Mafia prison gang. Well, first of all, he, like many Mexican Mafia members, were anti-black. That was part and parcel of who he was as a bad guy, as a gang member. And records will reflect that. Number 2, he cannot at this time ever pretend to represent the Black Hand.
So it would have been about 9th grade or so. Get on a few years. Growing up in Seattle, we had those the riots in '99, and I was ready to go, man. I had little Molotov cocktails in my bedroom and a copy of the Anarchist Cookbook that I had photoshopped.
The Mexican Mafia prison gang.
1999.
Because he's persona non grata and he's green lit. In other words, he's earmarked for execution by the fellows.
Okay, a couple of things I noticed right off the bat comparing that video from 2023. They claim that they're interviewing Mundo, who is a former Mexican drug cartel member who spent 36 years in prison. The video from a couple of days ago where they claim that they're interviewing a former member of Antifa. Again, not a real organization. Anyway, the first thing I noticed is that, like, wow, 2 years of lying to your audience, being supremely evil and an absolute shitbag, combined with that coke bloat, has really aged Jesse Waters a whole hell of a lot. The second thing is just like how fucking insulting to their audience. I understand. Again, they are largely trying to deceive older Americans maybe, like Donald Trump, have a little bit of cognitive impairment. Maybe they have that lead poisoning going on. They have a hard time distinguishing between fact and fiction. And also, obviously, they've never really stepped outside of their very white conservative bubbles. So they believe all kinds of myths and stereotypes about anybody who's not just like them. I don't know, watching both those interviews, I was like, how fucking insulting that they expect their audience to buy this shit. But then on the other hand, I had people in my comments on Facebook, because again, on Facebook, I get a lot of interaction from older Gen X and boomers who are conservative, who kind of hate watch my content. And they were like, oh yeah, if Antifa's not real, then how come Fox News interviewed this guy? Again, that's why I went and found this information, because I was not familiar with the interview. So I guess they believe it, or they want to believe it, or they think that other people will be convinced by it. It's really, really fucking embarrassing. Obviously, this is the same guy. Damn, if he doesn't look an awful lot like Fox News producer Jonathan Glenn. Folks on social media have done side-by-side comparisons, and gosh, like the similarities, it's uncanny. Okay, the bottom one is obviously photoshopped in, that's the point of this meme, but these top two here, right, they're just recycling the same dude, the producer, doing absolutely cringy, embarrassing impersonations, expecting their audience to believe it. A number of folks on social media have pointed out that both the supposed Antifa member and the supposed drug cartel member have moles in exactly the same place. They have the same eye color, the same brow ridge shape. It's uncanny. It's uncanny how similar they look. One of my kids said, is there not some ethical violation, some journalistic integrity that's been violated here? First of all, right, okay, Fox News, journalistic integrity. But right, I don't know why it is that they were allowed to get away with this in 2023, and why they're being allowed to get away with it today is because obviously, one, they don't have any commitment to reporting the truth, but clearly, obviously, they're fabricating this situation, this testimony. Unfortunately, it seems like some older conservative folks are believing it. Just like they're believing the Republicans who put up photoshopped images from other countries claiming that they were depicting what is going on in Portland. Just like they're believing the footage from BLM protests in 2020 when Fox News and Donald Trump tell them that it's happening today in Portland. I do think that's why it's so important that those of us who live here, folks who live in Chicago, continue to document what's happening. I understand that Trump and Fox News operate in a post-truth reality. I understand that the things that they are doing are completely uncoupled from facts and evidence. So much so that Jesse Waters and his Coke bloat are willing to fabricate stories like this one. But that's why it's really important that we continue to document and share the facts of the situation, that we bring evidence, share with your friends, your family, make sure that you post online. There still is the ability to undercut the lies of the regime, to disprove the lies of the regime by showing the American people, showing the world what's actually happening in Portland and in Chicago.